Allegations of sexual assault against Al Franken, and Democrats force him to resign. Women come out accusing Roy Moore of sexual harassment towards them when they were teenagers, and he gets endorsed by the president. Double standard or what? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the week in Washington in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we are in for some rainy and cold and severe weather. TGIF, right? Now let's head over to ABC 7's Chief Meteorologist, Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Yeah, wrong time, right? Snow falling, though. We could be dealing with that. Thankfully, we're not going to be, but that's in Atlanta, and they're going to get more snow throughout the night. They could end up with a couple to 3 to 4 inches of snowfall. Already hundreds of flights have been canceled or delayed throughout the Atlanta airport. And look at that snow all the way down to New Orleans. Rain, snow mixed there earlier and now changing back over to snow at times. But for us, it's a different story. We're looking for the potential for severe weather here, but nothing going on right now. That's the good news. The good news is for the next several hours, nothing to worry about. The bad news is it looks like the severe weather is going to be around when most people are, that's right, sleeping. And showers and storms are already starting to develop out in the Gulf of Mexico associated with the cold front and a little piece of energy that will move on through. This piece of energy will drive some of these storms to severe limits. That means winds can be as high as 60 miles an hour. And there's even a chance, an outside chance, that one or two of these cells could produce a water spout, and if it were to maintain its organization and move on shore, it would be classified as a tornado. Look at this, too. This is kind of interesting to note. Just in the last hour or so, these little isolated showers starting to pop up. So everything's going to kind of fill in, but that won't happen until late tonight, more so after midnight and continuing up until sunrise. Now, the storms themselves are still 70 miles offshore. We don't see anything developing anytime soon within the shoreline here within the next couple of hours, so no problems if you have any travel plans projected for the next several hours. Should not be a problem here, but say after 11 to 12 o'clock tonight, different story, as this line will push on through, and then the actual cold front will slide on through by sunrise and throughout the morning hours on Saturday, bringing with it more rainfall. But the rainfall potential is up to about an inch, inch and a half in most areas. Another problem is small craft advisories are in effect for boaters from this hour forward all the way until 10 o'clock tomorrow night. We have a huge boat parade in Sarasota Bay near Marina Jack tomorrow, and then another one in Manatee River tomorrow night as well. And those may be in danger as a result of these small craft advisories which have been placed. I want to show you what the Storm Prediction Center is now projecting for our coast. This has actually been bumped up since yesterday. We have a slight chance for severe storms here, and that slight chance had been marginal just yesterday. On top of that, there is a very small chance we could see tornadic activity in the area that you see brown. That chance is at 5%. And we had the tornado that moved through Siesta a while back, and also Duet. It was at 5% that night. So that means that we have to watch that closely. Wind damage a little higher at 10% for the potential for wind damage here along the Sun Coast. Currently, it's 76. Not bad out there. Warm, muggy, and breezy. Winds out of the south at 17. And get your jackets and sweaters ready for the weekend as the cold air will follow all the storminess. Alan?
All right, Bob, and we should also note that the Sarasota Boat Parade that was scheduled for this weekend has been canceled. And the drop in temperature and the shelters are now open in Sarasota County. Sarasota County Emergency Management is coordinating with the Salvation Army and Grace United Methodist Church to provide cold weather sheltering for those in need. 2 shelters will be open Saturday and Sunday evenings. The North County shelter will be at the Salvation Army on 10th Street in Sarasota. The South County shelter will be at the Grace United Methodist Church on Field Avenue in Venice. Why, you might ask, and who would burglarize a veterinary hospital? A suspect entered the secure area of the Bradenton Veterinary Hospital and stole a freezer containing the remains of 2 dogs waiting to be cremated. Vet officials say the animals' owners, who were already struggling with the loss, now feel victimized. The issue has baffled the community and has many wondering who would do such a thing.
I think that's pretty sad for somebody just to break in any place, but to break in the veterinary's office and steal dead dogs in the freezer, that's really sad.
Anyone with information is asked to call the Bradenton Police Department. A Sarasota County jury has found a Newtown man guilty of killing 2 of his neighbors. Ronald Howard was convicted of the 2015 shooting of 65-year-old Johnny Campbell and 83-year-old Carlos Suarez. Howard will receive life without parole on both charges. Dozens of employees in the Florida legislature, including the spokesman for House Speaker Richard Corcoran, have been working at second jobs outside their taxpayer-paid positions. While some employees have gone to work as waitresses and tutors, others have jobs that could raise questions about potential conflicts of interest. Records show in one instance, an aide to a Bradenton legislator was allowed to conduct social media work for a company with ties to Republican Adam Putnam, a candidate for governor. A police officer who saved a man's life during the Pulse nightclub shooting contends he is being let go because he has post-traumatic stress. Corporal Omar Delgado was told his job will end December 31st. He says he has been battling PTSD since the shooting. Officials say an internal investigation started after a citizen filed a complaint against Delgado. Delgado will receive 42% of his salary and benefits for life. Legislation to expand workers' compensation benefits for firefighters and other first responders unanimously passed its first Senate committee this week. In part, the bill would require workers' comp to cover mental conditions like post-traumatic stress. Currently, PTSD is only fully covered by workers' comp if the mental injury is accompanied by a physical injury requiring mental treatment.
Where we can react with a common sense approach of giving them the therapies and benefits they need in order to lead a normal life, it's our obligation to do so.
Petronas says the suicide rate among first responders is higher than the general population, and he hopes expanding workers' comp coverage for mental health will bring that number down. The Venice High School football team is playing for the state championship tomorrow in Orlando. This morning, players received a send-off from students at Venice Elementary School. The car picked up line was packed with banners, flags, and students cheering on the Indians. Tomorrow night's game is against Bartram Trail High School from the Jacksonville area, and we wish the Indians the best of luck. And still to come, why are Democrats forcing their senator accused of sexual harassment out of Washington, but Republicans are endorsing a Senate candidate accused of assaulting teenage girls?
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Christmas Traditions by LuxArt Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by LuxArt Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. The IRS is cracking down on those who owe back taxes. They send out devastating letters, garnish paychecks, and even put liens on your home or business. You may have heard of it. It's called enforced compliance. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists who will negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms and can negotiate a tax settlement with the IRS. It's that simple. And if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars, finally ending your financial stress. Now is the time for a fresh start. Now is the time to call Tax 10,000. 800-699-3188. That's 800-699-3188. Call now.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
ABC 7 News at 7, weeknights.
President Trump is heading to Pensacola tonight for a campaign-style rally just 25 miles from the Alabama state line. The proximity not lost as the U.S. Senate special election there is just days away, and Trump has put his full endorsement behind embattled Republican candidate Roy Moore. As Stacey Cohen explains, the rally and the election coming at a watershed moment in the nation's capital.
Capitol Hill still reeling amid a wave of sexual misconduct allegations and resignations. Republican Congressman Trent Franks becoming the third lawmaker to announce his resignation this week due to allegations of sexual harassment. It came hours after Democratic Senator Al Franken said he would step down, but stopped short of apologizing.
In the coming weeks, I will be resigning as a member of the United States Senate.
2 days earlier, Democratic Congressman John Conyers announcing he would retire after facing multiple allegations of sexual harassment. Watershed developments just days before a U.S. Senate special election in Alabama with alleged sexual abuse at the forefront.
Thank you very much.
President Trump heads to Pensacola, Florida Friday afternoon for a campaign-style rally a stone's throw away from the Alabama state line. The proximity, a coincidence? Trump has given Moore a full-throated endorsement, tweeting his support Friday morning. The White House pressed on why the president is backing Moore, who faces multiple allegations of pursuing relationships with teenage girls while he was in his 30s and of assault by two of them.
We think that the allegations are troubling and that ultimately this is something that the people of Alabama should decide.
The RNC also throwing its support behind Moore, echoing the White House's stance on the controversial candidate.
Well, we've said all along that these allegations are incredibly disturbing. It's up to the voters of Alabama right now. This is democracy. They're going to see this play out.
But we begin tonight with a very special election here on the Suncoast, a debate over a debate that will take place at the Trapezoid when we return.
I heard about the Dotole Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotole Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotole Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
Glasses and contacts. You need them to see, but they put such a strain on your life, you miss precious moments. Due to new advances in vision improvement technology, LASIK is now affordable for almost everyone, with procedures starting as low as $299 per eye and over 1 million procedures performed by our trusted independent surgeons. LASIK surgery is a sensible, safe, and affordable solution to improve your vision. Our simple 3-step process begins with a free evaluation, followed by an extensive preoperative exam to determine if you're a candidate for LASIK eye surgery. Depending on the results of your evaluation and eye exam, you and your surgeon will choose the LASIK option that works best for you. So call now to talk to a LASIK Vision Institute counselor and schedule your free evaluation. That's a $100 value, free. Call the LASIK Vision Institute for your free evaluation and enjoy more of your life.
Call 1-800-813-0109. 1-800-813-0109.
Welcome back. We saw a number of political careers snuffed out this week because of sexual harassment, and we're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. But first up is the special election in Sarasota to fill the House seat left vacant by Alex Miller. The field is set this week. Democrat Margaret Good handily defeated Ruta Giudice. Good will face Libertarian candidate Allison Foxall and Republican James Buchanan, both of whom did not have primary opponents. Good news, we're going to have a debate. January 30th, right here at the Trapezoid. Margaret Good and Allison Foxall, they're all in. James Buchanan. James, we haven't heard back from you yet. Buchanan's campaign has said he won't be doing any debates or joint appearances with the other candidates. Really? What's up with that? Joining us for more is Jack Brill, the vice chair of the Sarasota Republican Party.
Shut up.
Kevin Griffith, the vice chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party. Zach Anderson, political reporter for the Herald Tribune. And Mitch Perry, political reporter for FloridaPolitics.com. Jack, I mean, a lot of people are talking about this around town. James Buchanan initially was going to be at the Tiger Bay Club yesterday, and then he backed out of that. What's going on here? The questions you hear are, you know, is he not prepared? Is he frightened to debate his opponents on television? Is he scared, uninformed? Does he think just because he has the last name Buchanan and his dad is the congressman,
I don't know,
he doesn't have to debate that will carry him over the finish line? What's going on?
James is very prepared to run this race. He is out knocking on doors. I will use Margaret's answer yesterday at Tiger Bay, where she said when she wouldn't debate Ruta.
I was going to get to that.
And she said, oh, I was out. I wanted to spend my time knocking on doors. Well, this district has 40,000 doors that you have 60 days to come and to be able to go out and knock on and campaign.
You know
James I know James will be talking to neighborhood folks, groups, and talking to folks.
You can't shake the hands of every voter in this district. And you know what? Even if you go and buy a vehicle at Sarasota Ford, they usually let you take the car out for a test drive. You know, Zach, you've seen a lot of races around here. I know there are not debates in every single race, but this is a special election. Most of the time, do you have debates or joint appearances for these kinds of elections around here?
So it's not unusual for candidates up and down the ballot to, to shy away from having a lot of debates if they think they're the front runner, if they think that, they have an advantage over the field. Oftentimes they try and limit these types of events because they don't want to slip up. They don't want to give their opponents ammunition to use against them. But it's pretty unusual to not do any debates at all, like Buchanan has said he won't do, and that has opened him up to some criticism. As you said, people have suggested, asked him why he won't do these. But his opponent, Margaret Good, she's been called a hypocrite because she actually, wouldn't come and do a debate on this show, so that she's, taken some criticism as well over that.
Let me jump in. Hold on. Let me start it with a question, because your candidate does not have the high road here, because she was offered an opportunity to debate her Democratic opponent right here on this broadcast, and she deferred. So how do you then demand or shame James Buchanan into debating here?
Margaret Good and Ruta Giudice were together at forums in over 20.
Not on television.
I introduced them at multiple that had hundreds of people, and she came on your show. Both candidates came on your show. I invite James Buchanan. Let's start at the beginning without Margaret Good come on the show, and then that's a baby step, and then he can take the next step and debate her.
This issue has become significant enough that, Mitch, you are writing about it in terms on your website, which gets play all over the state.
Yeah, it's disappointing because I think as the media representatives of the media, we represent the public in ways, and television appearances or even a Tiger Bay, those are the highest profile events that the public can really get to know these candidates. And it's unfortunate. Zach is right. I've seen it happen so many times where the candidate who's usually leading, many times if it's not in his or her best advantage, they're not going to do it, and the voters usually lose out. There was one exception last year, though. You might recall when Patrick Murphy was running against Marco Rubio for the U.S. Senate. It was Murphy who all of a sudden didn't want to debate Marco Rubio, which was really weird because he was the guy who needed more name recognition. But yeah, I mean, the voters lose basically when this happens.
All right, look, Roy Buchanan has debated every Democratic opponent who has come his way even if those Democrats did not have a legitimate, real shot at winning. You know, the question again is to Republicans out there who want to send a fighter to Tallahassee, don't they have a right to see their candidate debate the issues and see how they're going to perform against political opponents?
The Buchanan campaign welcomes all inquiries for James to meet constituents, to come speak at their, neighbor groups or, whatever the venue may be, homeowner associations. This is a campaign that is a grassroots, ground-based campaign that is there to meet every individual constituent. I apologize.
Hello.
Yeah, God. Meet every constituent possible. And, this is the campaign strategy. They're being very successful at it. James is a very intelligent, down-to-earth.
We have not seen him on television. We have not seen him to debate the issues or answer a tough question.
The tough questions should come from the voters. And then he is answering a lot of questions from a lot of voters, and that's part of the campaign strategy, to get out to meet as many voters and to do, to get across the district as much as possible. And he's got an entire campaign team that's knocking on doors every day.
Alan, Margaret Good is a candidate and will be a state representative that, one, the people of Sarasota can trust, and two, is so hardworking that she started here locally at one of the most prestigious firms and has worked her way to the top. Her father's a minister. Her mother's a nurse. She's a person that the people of Sarasota can trust. And she's answered the questions. But for a primary campaign, she went through a tough primary campaign.
But at the same time, though, when you look at what she's also saying, and she said it at Tiger Bay yesterday, she's also the person that, whether it's federal taxes or our state taxes, she's willing to raise it.
That's not
she said she wanted Medicare to come out of the federal government.
Gentlemen, it would be really good for Margaret Good and James Buchanan and Allison Foxhall to debate that right here instead of leaving it to surrogates like yourself. Zach, let me ask you one more question. Who's giving him this advice?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he does have advisors. He's hired a really well-known political consultant, Anthony Pedicini, who's run a lot of these races. So, he's getting professional advice, and so he must think that this is in his best interest. You mentioned an interesting point. You said Buchanan Sr. often debated his opponents. Oftentimes they didn't have a big shot of winning. It's a lot easier to debate somebody who you don't think can win. That might say something about whether he thinks Margaret
I don't know
can win.
where this advice is coming from, but if I was the Buchanan campaign, I would rethink it. James, the trapezoid, the water is warm. We're very friendly here, as you can see. Give me a call. You got my number because I texted it to you. We're just getting warmed up, and we'll have much more in the Week in Politics right after we check the First Alert weather. Stay with us.
It's the holiday sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKC Sport Utility for $269 per month, or a 2017 MKZ for $279 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Suncoast since 1978. We are located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Attention type 2 diabetics. The FDA warns of an increased risk of amputation associated with certain diabetes medications. If you took the diabetes medications Invokana or Invokamet and then suffered an amputation or one of these other serious injuries, call the Rely On Group right now. If you've suffered amputation or any of these injuries after taking your diabetes medication, call the Rely On Group today. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA has recently warned about an increased risk of leg and foot amputations associated with the use of certain diabetic medications such as Invokana and Invokamet. If you or a loved one took the diabetes medications Invokana or Invokamet and then suffered an amputation, ketoacidosis, kidney failure, or even death, call the Rely On Group now. We are here to help you get the justice you deserve. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-355-8205. That's 800-355-8205.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
take time to be a dad today.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Our conversation on the week in politics continues right after we get the check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Snow in the Deep South. That's the big story today. We have this snow falling right now. This is the snow depth. This is on the ground. Houston had some snow yesterday, all the way through Louisiana, throughout much of central and southern portions of Mississippi tonight, and central Alabama. Atlanta has had snow over the past several hours now. Accumulation up there about 2 inches, and more on the way tonight. So unusual to get a snowstorm this early in the season. Winter not officially starting quite yet, but it has already over parts of the Deep South. Now, we are anticipating for us no snow, but big storms late tonight, and especially in the early morning hours. Unfortunately, it's going to be an early morning event, and that means rumble of thunder, the possibility of strong gusty winds, and that chance for an isolated severe thunderstorm not out of the question at this point. And models are still indicating a pretty rough day or a pretty rough night, and then tapering off by midday tomorrow. There's the snow, pretty heavy now in Atlanta, stretching off toward the southwest, all the way in to central sections of Alabama tonight, and then the heavier weather by far over north central Florida near Jacksonville, spreading on into the Big Bend area, and then nothing going on here immediately, but we will see more and more storms starting to fill in advance of this energy. You can see this pretty intense storm right here. These are the ones that may produce isolated tornadoes and waterspouts. In fact, little hook right there in that last cell. So nothing going on here right now, but say around 10, more so 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, we're going to see the potential for some rough weather blowing up here along the Sun Coast. Currently, Jacksonville getting hit by some heavy rainfall. We could see rainfall amounts up to about an inch, inch and a half in most areas tonight. And then look at this. This is also starting to develop just in the last half hour or so. We've noticed showers and storms popping up. That would indicate that there's some energy, and looks like the very active jet stream is now with a little piece of energy moving across the east central portion of the Gulf of Mexico. We are under a small craft advisory for boaters. We heard earlier that the Sarasota Boat Parade has been canceled for tomorrow night. And again, that's a result of the small craft advisory that has been issued and will stay with us through 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Temperatures will hold steady all the way through 11 o'clock, mid-70s, and rain showers and some thunderstorms developing right around 11 o'clock. And it looks like we'll see that really fill in too after 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, current temperatures are still pretty warm, mid-70s to upper 70s across the region. The Gulf water temperature now at 76, the same in Northport, Sarasota, and in Venice. Here's a look at that temperature trend. Now, these are high temperatures anticipated over the next 7 days, and you'll notice every one of them below average, especially cold or cooler, if you will, on Sunday with a high only 60 degrees. Now, current conditions, we have some clouds and 76. Dew point way up there at 74. Winds are brisk out of the south at 17. And the high today didn't manage to get to 81. We can say goodbye to the 80s for a while, at least for the next 7 days. And no rainfall. We could use a little bit of rain. And as far as that futurecast goes, you can see this is at 2:30 a.m. You can see showers and storms dotted about west central Florida and out into the Gulf of Mexico. And then another piece of energy coming through, unfortunately, around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Some of that pretty heavy rain at times. Now, as far as the boating goes, we mentioned earlier, small craft advisory is in effect. Seas 5 to 7 feet. That's the reason why they've canceled the boat parade for Sarasota Bay tomorrow night. Low tide upcoming, 10:31. And sunrise will be at 7:09. Tonight, mostly cloudy, strong storms late, 62 for a low. And then for tomorrow, look for morning showers. Now, we'll see that shower activity throughout the morning and then tapering off by midday. It will be windy and turning cooler, a high of only 67. The extended forecast then, there it is, only 62 for a high on Sunday. Monday, 65 after a very chilly start. And then we warm up just a little bit on Tuesday to cool down on Wednesday and Thursday. Al will be back with his guests right after this.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetzy. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment, and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard.
Welcome back. The week began with the retirement of Democrat John Conyers, the longest current-serving member of Congress after revelations he settled a sexual harassment case. And it ended with the resignation of Senator Al Franken after multiple women accused him of groping them. But check out an interesting observation of his when he took to the Senate floor.
I, of all people, am aware that there is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party.
Joining us for more is Jack Brill, the vice chair of the Sarasota Republican Party, Kevin Griffith, the vice chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, Zach Anderson, political reporter for the Herald Tribune, and Mitch Perry, political reporter for FloridaPolitics.com. And Mitch, I'm going to start with you. People in our area, do they distinguish between the accused Republican sexual harassers and the Democrats, or do they think they're all bums up there?
Well, I don't know about bums, but we're living through a cultural revolution that's really happening before our eyes right now. And in a way, it transcends politics, but of course, we're going to talk about politics here. I do find it interesting. I saw this, actually, a poll came out about this. Republicans, interestingly enough, and this goes for Al Franken, are less wanting these guys to drop out of Congress. I think it's around 55% in this YouGov poll and the Time Magazine cover story about the Me Too movement, whereas Democrats at 70% of their own, they want to get their own people out. We saw this with the Franken issue, right? Whereas Al Franken wanted to go through an ethics commission, and all of a sudden 2 days ago, there was a stampede to get him out, and he's out now.
You know, frankly, a Republican Senator, Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, told the Washington Post that Al Franken did not have to resign. Quote, "There is no due process for Franken. He decided to accept being drummed out. I'm not defending him. You just can't help but observe what I'm saying is true.
It is kind of amazing that these candidates or these lawmakers are dropping out before even going through a hearing. It's very different than the way things used to be, where these processes were often drawn out, and sometimes lawmakers would hang on even after they were convicted. There was a really interesting Washington Post story that just came out where it said this is to have 3 members of Congress resign in a week is really unprecedented. It hasn't been since the Civil War where you saw this many people resign in controversy in a week. So it's a really unusual moment in our politics now, and it shows just how sensitive this issue of sexual harassment is in the culture.
Kevin, I've heard the observation this week that the Democrats sacrificed Al Franken, and look, nobody is going to defend him here, but the observation is that they sacrificed Al Franken so they could claim the high ground in all these sexual harassment allegations, whether it's against Roy Moore or the president.
I think there's 2 issues with this topic. One is the victims. If you're a 20-something, whether you're male or female, you should be able to go to your place of employment and work without the fear of being harassed by your boss. But secondly, and there's something in my day-to-day job as a defense attorney that we deal with, and that's proportionality. Does the transgression versus what the person is being punished with, do those match? And I think that's where this debate is now moving to. Roy Moore is accused of molestation. That is a crime. But some of these other congresspersons who are stepping down are accused of making comments. There's a proportionality. I think that's where the debate's going. I would point out the irony that we're discussing that today with a panel of 5 men and no women. So
duly noted.
Yes.
All right. Jack, what do you think about the argument that you hear from some Republicans, including the president, including his press secretary, who says the allegations are serious, but we cannot have a liberal Democrat representing Alabama in the United States Senate?
Until this entire subject, I hate to see as a parent of adult daughter who's works for the legislature in Tallahassee, just hearing this stuff makes me cringe, in the workplace, the whole bit. But I also believe on all sides, this still is a country where we're innocent until proven guilty. Until there are criminal charges filed against any of these folks, they're innocent until proven guilty.
You know that because of the statute of limitations, there never would be criminal charges filed against Roy Moore. And even in some of the cases of the allegations against President Trump, they go back, 10, 20 years? They're not going to be criminal allegations. So therefore, how do you rationalize it?
But also, I agree to your point, but then you have today where the main accuser with the yearbook on Roy Moore, she admitted on national television that she wrote in a lot of what, underneath his signature. So you've got to, there's a balance in this whole process.
Here's the difference. Due process is for hearings, and in criminal law, it's beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. That's about taking away your freedom. These people are trying to be the leaders of our communities. That's a different standard that they should be held to and that they should hold themselves to.
Right, but if you take that point, and I've heard this come out of the mouth of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the American people made that judgment against Donald Trump, and they elected him anyway.
That was pre-Harvey Weinstein, I would say. I think that things are a lot different just the last 2 months. Interesting, we talk about these lawmakers in D.C. who are dropping out left and right. A difference up in Tallahassee where Senator Jack Latvala, who was attempting to run for governor, and that's kind of gone now. He's trying to fight for his political life and his own good name now. And it's really interesting because he is fighting back, and it's getting, it's tougher for him. I don't know if he's going to survive this even getting to January now, but he's an exception to what's been happening with other lawmakers who basically are like, you got me, I'm out of here now.
Alan, you pointed out there's a difference between how Democrats and Republicans have reacted to this, and the big difference is President Trump. President Trump was accused of a lot of these same things, and so I think it's Democrats feel like they're very hypocritical if they're going to go after Trump if they don't clean their own house. So I think that's one reason why you're seeing more of a rush to judgment, more of an effort to push these people out, because they obviously want to draw a clear contrast between their party and the president.
But at the same time, the representative from Arizona You know, he resigned this week.
Right.
There's a representative from Texas who apparently, you know, he's going to pay back whatever money was paid for a settlement, which, by the way, that should have never been on all sides, from Conyers all the way down. The fact that anybody in Congress can pay off a settlement with our tax money and nobody finds out about it,
Yeah,
that's ludicrous on all sides.
The question is, why is he still in Congress?
Right. Well, he may not be soon. You know what I mean? I mean, you're right. He's been somehow escaped this. Whereas Trent Franks goes out last night just when we hear this bizarre story about surrogacy. But nevertheless, this Farenthold in Texas is hanging on. But I don't think he's going to be able to hang on much longer.
Okay, we have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in just a moment.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812. 800-738-9812.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And we close tonight as President Trump arrives in Pensacola, and our good friend Joe Gruters is the opening act. Once again, just like old times on the campaign trail, Pensacola is just 20 miles away from Alabama. Of course, our producer of this broadcast is very familiar with the Pensacola area after serving in the Marines up there. You know, what is the advantage of having the president go to Pensacola outside of Alabama, but inside the Alabama television market?
Well, he supposedly gives him some, I don't know what actually, because the Republicans have gone a whole hog into Roy Moore after, backing away from him a few weeks ago. So I don't really understand why he's not in Mobile and is in Pensacola. But the big point is that he'll be talking about Roy Moore tonight and advocating for him to be elected next Tuesday. And, that's a profound thing, I think, for the Republican Party to get behind him, because if he is elected, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of this ethics commission, which is, I think Senator McConnell has said is going to happen anyway. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see if he is elected.
Jack, are you concerned about the Republican Party being all in on Roy Moore?
The Republican Party, National Republican Party, the Alabama Republican Party, they obviously know a lot more than we do in Sarasota. The one thing I got to say for this subject, along with every other subject, the one thing that the President Trump does, if this is the starting line, he moves the starting line, and it starts dialogue and conversation and disagreements. So he's not going to be somebody that's going to sit by. If he thinks that there's a possibility of losing the seat.
Are you comfortable with the Republican Party being the Republican Party of Roy Moore as one of its faces?
Luckily, we're in Sarasota, Florida, and we're not in Alabama, so we don't have to make this choice.
Sarasota County.
And that's why I'm very glad we're here, not in Alabama, having to be part of that special election up there.
Kevin?
Democrats do not want pedophiles in their party, and that's clear. And I think if Roy Moore is unfortunately elected to the U.S. Senate, it'll be not just a stain on the U.S. Senate, but on the Senate as a whole and our country as a whole. And it does affect people here in Sarasota.
Zach, does it?
One thing to take away from this, I think, is kind of amazing is that Trump sort of can't help but insert himself into whatever the story of the moment is. And, I think that he knew this was going to be a big deal. He decided, I'm either going to be all in or I'm not. And so he is. And he lets the chips fall where they may. And we'll see how it affects his party now.
Right, gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show on opioid babies. In 2015, over 2,400 babies were born in Florida addicted to opioids because of their mother's use. That number 5 times higher than 10 years earlier. We went to Facebook to hear what some of you have to say, and Patsy says, why isn't doing drugs with a fetus inside not considered child abuse? Well, that's an idea, Patsy. Would you be willing to step up and be a foster parent when their mothers go to jail? Justin says, round up the weak-minded users and dump a bunch of pills on the table and let them off themselves. I have no sympathy for the junkies. Wow, Justin, hope it doesn't happen to you or someone that you know and love. And finally, Jeff says, sterilize the mother, and if the father is a druggie, sterilize him too. Hey, Jeff, opioid addiction is happening in every socioeconomic level in our society. Hoping your son or daughter doesn't get hooked on them. Wondering if you would feel differently then. If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, for the latest local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, it's expired. Just go to the App Store and re-download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. And you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Jack Brill, Vice Chair of the Sarasota Republican Party. Kevin Griffith, the Vice Chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party. Zach Anderson, political reporter for the Herald Tribune. And Mitch Perry, political reporter for FloridaPolitics.com. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, the fires in California continue to spread. How bad is it? We'll tell you after the break.
Christmas Tradition by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Oh, look at this. Snow's falling. It's fallen all day today, pretty much. In the deep south,
which is unusual to have it this far south during this time of year. Usually it doesn't happen until January or February, but look at this. This is the snow expected. Again, over the next 24 hours, we'll put the map into motion and show you more snow anticipated into Atlanta and into central sections of Alabama and all the way up into the Carolinas. Boy, a lot of snow there, and they're going to be doing some skiing if they can open up the resorts. A little early for that there, but nonetheless, this is all associated with a cold front. On top of that, what's happening is we have this warm, moist air coming from the Gulf of Mexico overriding the colder air, and then it's falling as snowfall over North Georgia and throughout central Alabama, although starting to taper off there, but still continuing over North Georgia, fairly heavy right there. That's the big story, I think, tonight. Traffic pretty much at a standstill now in Atlanta. And on top of that, hundreds and hundreds of flights canceled or delayed as a result of that heavy snow now that's falling there. For us, a different story. We have showers and storms developing now, getting a little closer to the coast. And this is what we're going to see tonight and throughout the morning, at least the early morning hours on Saturday. The heaviest weather by far over North Florida and showers and storms right there. That's the actual cold front. Out ahead of it, we're going to see some development, and these cells are kind of a little bit more severe than you would expect, at least a little bit more severe looking. They have a little bit of a hook on them. I think a couple of these storms I did see earlier. So we'll watch those. Those have the potential for producing water spouts and then even tornadoes. So there's an isolated chance we could see a tornado. And also we're starting to see this fill in too here a little bit in the Gulf of Mexico out ahead of the actual front itself. There are a few showers down south near Venice and Inglewood toward Minnesota Beach, and that's just some light rainfall. But this one's a little heavier. That's moving to the northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. A small craft advisory is in effect, and that's the reason why they decided to cancel the Sarasota Boat Parade, which was to take place tomorrow night. And because of that advisory, that is no longer going to take place. Get a look at this. This is dew point temperatures, and this is where we look to see where the front is actually located. You can see it right there north of Orlando, north of Sarasota. The dew point temperatures drop down into the 30s and 40s there. That's extremely dry, and that's what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow as this front moves through tomorrow right around sunrise. Current conditions, we have 76 and the dew point 74, humidity at 94%, and the pressure 29.82 inches. Here's a forecast model showing that shower activity moving through. The first wave coming in at 2, shortly thereafter midnight, then continuing till 2. The next one moving in around 4 and continuing up until about 5:30. And then it kind of blows out of here by 7 o'clock. So we'll still see some light rain up until noon, but we won't see anything like the severe weather we could see over the morning hours. Small craft advisory is in effect, and northwest winds at 20 knots, and bays and inland waters will be choppy out there. Tides upcoming, low tide at 10:31, and sunrise will be at 7:09. Well, here's the 7-day forecast. It looks like this. 70% chance for morning showers on Saturday, tapering off to 20% after the afternoon, and then cool weather, at least cold for Florida standards, on Sunday and Monday. We warm up a little bit on Tuesday and then chill out again on Wednesday and Thursday. Al will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
For 30 years, it's been an honor for the Michaels on Ice team to serve you.
We love that our restaurant, wine cellar, and ballroom have become your favorite gathering places, and we love catering your parties.
From everyday celebrations to life's greatest occasions, please join us soon for new culinary adventures. A toast to 30 years.
And to many more.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-307-2040 now and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-307-2040 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-307-2040.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Checking primetime headlines, the fires in California continue to spread. Thousands forced to evacuate. Homes, buildings, personal possessions all lost. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez has more.
Neighborhoods lit up for the holidays, ravaged by flames, as the Lilac Fire in San Diego County, scorching 4,000 acres in fewer than 12 hours, spreads.
The fire was coming right at us. You could feel the heat from the fire.
10,000 residents evacuated, at least 4 people injured while trying to escape. In this fire alone, 85 homes and other buildings damaged or destroyed. Crews racing to save others, catching the family inside this house off guard. All 6 wildfires burning in Southern California are fueled by strong Santa Ana winds.
The wind was so strong, strongest I've ever seen it.
Those double-digit gusts carrying smoldering embers, making the flames difficult to contain.
When a tornado hits the Midwest, there's no stopping it. When a hurricane hits the East Coast, there's no stopping it. When the Santa Ana winds come in, there's no stopping them.
The 2 fires in Los Angeles County now between 30 and 40% contained. But the damage left behind is overwhelming.
You're not out of the woods just yet.
No, absolutely not. We need to get out there and make sure all the hot spots are taken care of. And until every hot spot is out, we won't be completely out of the woods.
And in Ventura County, the largest of the fires growing even more. Flames destroying more than 400 structures across 132,000 charred acres, threatening communities all the way to the coast.
And while it is still breezy today, the winds aren't as powerful as yesterday, which could be a big help for firefighters. The wind warnings will stay in effect through the weekend. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Sylmar, California.
And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us and have a great weekend.